There we go.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Football Boot Hour here on the Boot Wizard YouTube channel with me, James, the Boot Wizard himself, along with my co-host Andrew of the Lockhart Boot Blog, who is here every single week. And you will notice this week we are joined by the lovely Jake from Sokito. Jake Sokito, as you may know him on Instagram, the founder of Sokito. But rather than me going into all the details, we'll just jump straight into it because we do have limited time with Jake today. So we want to say a huge thank you for joining us at all. It's massively appreciated. But Jake, could you maybe introduce yourself, tell the people a little bit of background, how you got started, who you are? We would love to know.
Of course. Firstly, thanks for having us, guys. It's great to be on. So I think we've probably spoken about Sokito privately. I think you guys have spoken about Sokito quite a bit over the past sort of 12 months since the launch of the Scudetto. I'm the founder, CEO of the company. We launched officially about 2.5 years ago now, but I was building the business for about 6 years before that. And it took a long time because we were developing product, of which the first one took 4 years to develop, building the brand and trying to weave really sustainability into everything that we do. That was really the general kind of idea and ethos behind the brand when we sort of wanted to start something. And we found out that in Europe and the US, there's 12.5 million pairs of boots that go to landfill every year, which is just crazy. And football, which is this hugely connecting power, right? It connects more people than anything, literally anything, any religion, any nationality. And it was contributing to the climate crisis when it doesn't have to. So we wanted to create really high performing football product that is better for the planet. And you don't have to compromise on performance to be able to do that. So you've seen the Scudetto, you've seen the Devista. It's really just a start for us. I think we're probably going to talk about a couple of new things that we've been working on and have in the pipeline too. There we go. So yeah, it's great to be here.
No, thank you very much. And that was an excellent explanation of Sokito and where they come from, where you come from. And we probably should have just taken that and like clipped it into some of my videos because I've gone to great lengths to try and explain the concept of like the sustainability and why it's important. And you've just done it in like 2 minutes better than I have attempted to across about 10 different videos.
Yeah, that's it's a conversation and a pitch I have to do multiple times a day. So I've got it down to a few lines. Yeah.
Fair enough. And you are out in the States at the moment, expanding the brand.
Correct. Yeah. So we're over in Arizona at the moment. There's 4 of us out here. The company is, like I said, a couple of years old. We've now got about 10 employees. At the start of the year, we had 3. Yeah. So the growth's been good. And the US already for us is our key market, which is quite interesting. So we actually sell more shoes in California than we sell in England. And we're a UK brand.
That's not surprising, actually.
Yeah. So California is our biggest market, and we are trying to sort of tap into the youth, hence being at the MLS Next, which is under 15 to under 19 tournament to let people see the shoes, try them on, feel them, tell them a bit about the brand. And yeah, it's been a great few days.
Amazing. Now, obviously, the chat is here. The live chat is here. I don't know if you can see that, Jake. But if not, there is a live chat up on YouTube. Guys, throw your questions in there for Jake. We will get to them. And I think what we'll do is essentially Andrew and I are going to fire questions at you. And we're going to go from kind of the start of the Sokito journey, I suppose, and move on through. Although I do want to touch on something that you just said, and this will happen a lot where we'll just deviate. You say obviously that you sell more shoes in California than you do in the UK, and you're a UK-based company.
Yeah.
Do you think that some of that is down to the fact that, for example, outside of the UK, you've got Unisport? So that's a huge market, like a huge place to be able to distribute your boots from. Obviously, in the UK right now, it's a direct sales to you. There isn't like that big Unisport-esque retail partner. Do you think that kind of plays a part? And is that maybe something that you'd look to change in the future?
I think it probably does play a part. We would love to be in Pro Direct. There's no secret about that. And, you know, we have a lot of very good retail partners, but we also don't have any in California. So that's all direct, which is very interesting. So yeah, Unisport do a lot of our business in Europe. They are probably our biggest partner, biggest retail partner, and they're amazing what they've done for us in terms of, you know, when you're working with someone like Jay, who is completely truthful and honest in his reviews and videos, to have him speak about the shoes in the way that he does is just amazing. But yeah, we don't have that in California. We have obviously soccer.com, which is nationwide here. Nicky's is probably the one in LA, California kind of area that we'd want to work with.
Yeah.
And then there is We Got Soccer. But yeah, it's probably has an impact, but I don't think it's the sole reason. We're still trying to figure out what the reason is, to be quite honest, James.
Yeah, well, that's the reason I asked, because I'm like, it seems strange to me that it hasn't maybe taken off in the UK quite as much when it's such a big market. And and my immediate thought was, okay, I didn't want to say Pro Direct in case there was something you didn't want to say. But I was like, there's Unisport, but there's no Pro Direct. Yeah. So I was like, is that the problem?
Yeah,
that is wild. Yeah.
We'd love to be in there. Like, we think it would fit really nicely with the offering, and hopefully at some point we will be, but we'll wait and see.
Fingers crossed. We can start. Yeah. We could. There's a lot of people going to watch this. We can just start get them all to start bugging Pro Direct for Sokito boots.
Yeah.
I believe Finley is in the chat, and I believe Finley, you know Finley. I assume, because he's also asking right here if is this bloke any good at football? I feel like he's just firing shots.
Finley is downstairs right now, and I'm upstairs in the same Airbnb.
So we will get to questions specifically, but Finley has also asked. This is the question I mentioned to you earlier, that we got a question in on Instagram from the official Sokito account. So I put up a post on Instagram saying, "Oh, if you've got questions for Jake, please put them here." And we got a question for Jake from Sokito, and I don't know if Finley maybe foolishly put his name to it. So the question is, we need to ask you about your weird brown football boot obsession.
Of course he did. Yeah, so basically we launched the sand colorway probably maybe 3 weeks ago now, I think. And the main reason for that shoe and that colorway, it's obviously quite a unique colorway in football, right? You don't see many earthy tones, more of a lifestyle color palette. And I basically used to always wear brown boots when I was growing up. I've owned a lot of shoes. I've been a collector, still have a few hundred pairs. But I used to love those brown Adipures. I don't know if you remember them. There was a couple of generations. Yeah. There was
one or the two, right?
I'm sure they did both, but the one that I wore the most was the burrito tongue version. Was that the two?
Yep.
Yeah, so that was basically why I really pushed a brown boot. And Finley's been trying to film me saying that for quite some time. So you've got the official scoop.
The scoop, there it is. It's on the podcast now. It's out there in the world.
I can. There used to be a company called Retro Star Classic out of Germany, and they had a pair of brown, or they called them like cognac colorway in their boots, and I wore those for a while. And then I gave them to a friend who then wore them for several years. So yeah, I know the brown boot obsession.
Was that cognac in terms of, was it quite a dark brown?
It was actually a lighter brown. It should have been a darker brown, but I think the colorway didn't come out of the factory as they wanted.
Right. I personally love sort of more lifestyle-y colors on performance footwear. You don't see it in football, but there's some, Hilo Athletics, the trainer company, they do just like earthy, sandy, khaki kind of colors. So we played around with that a bit, and this was our first forage into it, really, and it's gone pretty well.
I need that sand colorway as well.
Yeah, complete the set.
I was going to say,
now I need the Ola ones.
Yeah, and Andrew's playing like Infinity Stones with the Scudetta and every single colorway. Although I think that's a good segue. Andrew, do you have questions and thoughts about the new Ola colorway that you want to ask?
Yeah. Or the new Ola one?
The Ola, before we get
the
your
Ola,
choice, mate. Your choice.
The Ola, yeah, that was really cool. I remember talking to Sergio, the designer for y'all, and when I saw the pictures of Ola in a meeting with y'all, and he was so excited, and I was like, Sergio, how good was that? And he was like, it's honestly the best thing I've ever done. This is so cool. And like to see the result, like the details on it are amazing. So I want to know, like, how difficult was that to get on the upper itself? Like you've got even different, like the Africa is like in almost a gold, right?
Yeah. It took a few rounds. I think we did like maybe 5-6 sample rounds on it, and we've got now sort of quite a few videos of the whole process, which is we've just put on our YouTube, which you can literally see the entire design process, because either Ola or William Troost Kong, who's just actually announced his retirement from
Oh, sorry, I was just going to bring up the picture there. There we go.
Yeah, great. Yeah, so they were involved in the entire process. So yeah, it took a while. So we basically started with Ola's sketches. So all of the sort of doodles on the front are Ola's artwork, basically. Also features his logo. The ingredients, which are on the side, is his handwriting. So that's all done by him. And yeah, we started with a couple of variations. The pattern was kind of big, so we shrunk it down a little bit. We sort of made it tonal, so it sort of flows in with the rest of the shoe really nicely. And we kind of wanted to do something which is going to be worn in AFCON, which is in a couple of weeks' time. We wanted something that was like a very recognizable color from the stands. You don't see many shoes this kind of limey kind of green, but also had detail and depth when you saw it up close. So there's actually 2 layers of printing on there. So if you like really see it, you've got the kind of pattern which shows up in these images. There's then a 3D print of that same pattern, kind of off center. So it's dual layer, and that 3D print gives it a little bit of texture on the upper.
Nice.
You then have the sort of the gold foiled Africa continent on the instep, which is on the sort of the sweet spot, the strike zone, and then again on the logo. So yeah, it took a few goes to get it right, but it looks really, really nice in hand.
Yeah,
it does. It looks really nice.
Yeah. Something very that's clever too. Go ahead.
Yeah.
James.
Oh, no, I was going to say something that's been asked in the chat already, and I had it down to ask about is a few people have inquired about obviously buying these. S2S Creations here has said like they're probably going to be his first pair of boots from the brand and things like that, which is great to hear. But a few people asking about the tongue. So does it come with the knitted tongue that he uses?
It does, yeah. Yeah.
Nice. So why does he choose the knitted tongue? Like I've heard from a couple of people that they love it, like that have seen that knitted tongue. They think it's amazing. So like what's the benefit?
So the reason with Ola that we went that way was he's like an Adidas guy. He's worn F50s his entire career. We met him at the last AFCON. He invested. And that's when we sort of started this process. So we've been working on his shoe for 2 years. Throughout that time, he's been sort of in and out of Scudetta, in and out of F50s. And there's been a couple of reasons. One is he has a particularly wide foot, like particularly wide. So we've had to custom make his sizing and everything. But the other thing is he's pretty much just worn laceless boots since laceless boots have been around. I don't know when Adi started doing that. So to get him out of that was really difficult. Yeah. So we didn't really want to do a laceless. It was quite a lot of work and very difficult to do for a one-off. So we sort of faked the feeling of it really with the kind of knit tongue. And it's got a bit more structure to it. It's obviously a little bit thicker. The Scudetta tongue usually is super thin micro suede. And he's super happy with it, which is nice. So it's going to be the only one that's going to have that tongue.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think that's really special. It's one of the Andrew and I have spoken about this on the podcast before about making player edition boots and actually giving us what the players have. So if you're going to make a boot that's all only has a knitted tongue, then give us the knitted tongue and things like that. Like obviously you don't want to do things on his last, like you say, he's got a massively wide foot. But yeah, having things like the tongue and touches like that, I really special for signature boots. In my view, at least.
Yeah, I agree.
James, still with us, mate? He's blocked out. So I wanted to ask then about the AG, obviously. And you and I have talked about this several times. One of the things I actually noticed is this is significantly stiffer than like even the very first Scudetta.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm guessing this was even more reinforced.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. I was also surprised about the length of the studs, because this is very definitely like AG only. Like you see a lot of brands who do well. I've got a pair of the new Preds right here. Like if you look at the stud length between those two, like you could probably get away with wearing this as, of course, James has them. You could probably get away with wearing those on FG, but like for these, it's actually AG specific, and I think that's, I don't know, like that seems like it was very important to y'all to make sure it was just specifically AG only.
Yeah, 100%.
So is that kind of the thinking behind the design then?
Yeah. So you've obviously both worn the Scudetta, the FG, and when we were designing that shoe, when we were working on that shoe, we built it to be a super aggressive, responsive, firm ground speed shoe. So on grass, slightly wet grass, even dry grass if it's kind of long. For like, I'll obviously say this, but for me, it's one of the best sole plates in terms of changing direction, responsiveness, all that sort of thing. But it's very FG. It's not particularly AG friendly. But for a speed boot, we thought that was very important.
Yeah.
So we then wanted to kind of do the same for AG. So we played around a lot with what do we want the AG to do? Do we want it to basically be an FG? Because that Pred is basically an FG, right? You could wear it on either. Or do we want to completely optimize it so that you can wear that AG probably on some MG surfaces? You could probably wear it on HG, super, super thin studs, a lot of distribution across the forefoot area. There's obviously only 4 studs in the back end, but it's completely optimized for that surface. And yeah, we spent a lot of time on it. You're very right. The forefoot's stiff. The forefoot's stiff for a reason. We did a lot of testing. So basically the process, I don't know if you guys are aware of like how it goes when you're making a tooling, is you have the mold where you open the mold, you insert you sort of press the plastic and you get your part out. We did probably 4 trials to get to this shoe. So it was a long process, and we reopened toolings a couple of times. The last time we reopened the tooling just in order to move one of the medial side forefoot studs by 1.5 millimeters.
Oh my God.
It's dedication.
Yeah, because it's like, and so I was testing it, and I was testing it alongside loads of other things, and I thought, it's good. And we could have put that into the market, but it wasn't as good as it could be. So that's why the AG was so delayed. We initially planned on launching it in kind of September, maybe even August, but we reopened the tooling so many times that we've got one colorway now, and shortly many more, which is again another scoop.
Somebody had been asking questions.
Yeah, that answers a lot of questions that I got on Instagram and in the chat. People who are like basically dying for other colorways. Like some people want the black because black and AG.
You will like it.
You know what? Personally, I saw it was coming in white, and I'm like, suits me just
perfect.
fine.
Yep. Same.
Perfect.
That's all I need.
But yeah, a lot of people looking for the black. Obviously, some people looking for the sand colorway, the sand and vault, the the Brazil, things like that.
Yeah.
But, so there we go.
Yeah. So sand, Brazil, stone, and obsidian are all on the way in AG.
There we go. That's the scoop, ladies and gentlemen.
There you go.
The next one will be the Brazil, which should probably be January.
Nice.
There we go. You can get it, which is such a delightful colorway. I absolutely adore this. It's so good. That's amazing. I'm just going to go to the chat here. A few kind of questions, obviously, coming in as we go. So I think this is a fair thing to bring up, I think, and definitely to get your point of view on. It's the tough questions, is the sizing. So, of course, the sizing has kind of caused a little bit of, I suppose confusion is the term, because some, like, us reviewers don't help always, because we kind of have our own opinions, and should you go up half a size, should you say true to size, things like that. But the overall kind of shape and design of the boot, with the kind of lower pinched toe box overall, does seem to have caused a little confusion. Was this something that you were kind of aware of going to market? Was it something that kind of like sprung up on you, or is it something you're maybe even looking to change in the future, or is this all part of the master plan?
We were aware of it, to be honest.
I figured as much. Like, you're not going to go to market without knowing, but
Yeah, we wanted it to feel sharp, aggressive, but soft. And the BioTouch is so soft with the kind of suede-like lining inside that it molds to the foot, right? And you can probably wear true to size, even if you've got a wider foot. It might just take a bit longer to break in. But we probably didn't nail it, to be quite honest, like very openly. So we've been trialing a lot of things, and it is going to change slightly for the next generation of the Scudeto, which isn't actually that far away.
Scoops galore, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah. So yeah, we were aware of it. We kind of like it like that, to be honest. But also, if you've got a wider foot, you do need to half size up. That's
I actually like the current fit. Like, this is one of the reasons why I have so many damn pairs of these. It's not just because y'all have been very nice and have sent pairs out, but also I have bought pairs aside from that, just because I bloody love this boot. I love the tight fit. This is it's just about perfect for me.
Yeah, so I think the main thing is like the insole. That's the one thing I think if we went back and when we're looking at it again, like we'd probably make it slightly thinner. And we're talking.
I'm the only one. I'm literally the only one.
Well, you've got many from the current Scudetos that you can keep using.
Yeah, transfer.
Yeah. But yeah, you can very easily switch that out now, to get that fit.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I'm one of those people with the wider foot. So for me, it's like, and I've got 2 pairs true to size and 2 pairs half size up. And even with the wider foot, if I swap the insole, I can wear the true to size, and I do like the fit. It's millimeters off. If I swap the insole, it is millimeters off perfection for me, even with a wider foot. So I do go for the half size up and don't swap the insole most of the time if I'm going to play. But it is literally so close to perfect if I swap that insole out. Almost frustratingly so for me, that I'm like, because I have a wide foot, it's super soft. I love everything about the boot, and that swap the insole, and I'm like, this is so close. It's so close. But yeah, we love the boot. It was, obviously, you mentioned J Mike. It was his boot of the year for last year. It was Andrew's boot of the year. It was my boot of the year. So, there's plenty of options.
Yeah, it was amazing. All of the awards were amazing, and for us, that's kind of allowed us to grow, basically. So I mentioned a few new things that are on the way. I think I probably sent the 2 of you pictures of a couple of other new things that are on the way, but we have models being built which are slightly different lasts, slightly different sole plates, sort of very different fit feeling. So over the next, I'd say probably 18 months, we will have shoe that should work very nicely for most players and most foot types.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm very excited having seen a couple of the things. Obviously, I'm not going to say anything more than that. But
yeah, well, that's all. Yeah,
we'll
say nothing
very,
more.
very exciting stuff.
So I'm very conscious of the time that we're coming up to here. So there's been a couple of questions about the Devista, so I think we'll cover that, and then kind of like finish up with anything else. So obviously we've had the Devista. Andrew reviewed the regular one. I reviewed the vegan, which was a very good value for money boot, I would say.
Yeah.
And then how are you keeping that line, advancing it moving forwards? What can you tell us about it without giving too much away?
It's going through a fairly big revamp at the moment. So that shoe will be phased out within the next 3 months.
Okay.
And shortly after that, there will be something very new, and I think very exciting, but I would think that. So we'll wait and see.
I would hope so on your part.
Yeah, so we have a fairly big change. It's going to essentially turn into our kind of power shoe.
Ooh.
So something that we think will compete with a Pred, a Phantom, that kind of market. So that will be early to mid next year.
Nice.
Amazing. This is scoops galore, ladies and gentlemen. This is why you tune into the live football boot hour. You get all the good stuff. So again, with the time in mind, I think if there's anything else that you'd like to obviously say about the brand, about what you're doing, now is a good time. And also I think it would be personally great to kind of end on anything regarding the sustainability. I think it sometimes gets forgotten because the product is so good and we like to speak about the product, that sometimes the sustainability and how important that is, how it works, does get like left by the wayside a little bit, not necessarily by the brand, but by us talking about it. So I definitely love to touch on, again, I know you mentioned at the start the importance of that, the processes of what you go through to achieve the recycling, and maybe some of the successes you've had in that area as well. I'd definitely like to get some opinion on that as well. But kind of the floor is yours for the next 4 minutes before you have to depart. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, the fact you mentioned the sustainability gets left by the wayside or not spoken about so much, it's actually kind of what we want. We don't want to be or like come across as this kind of hippie brand with shoes that fall apart, because that's quite often what people think of vegan product, sustainable product is. It's not durable, it doesn't last, and it'll be crap basically. But that's not the case. We want to build shoes and product that competes at the very, very highest level, and then the sustainability is just an added benefit. That's where we want to be. So I think a lot of the Boot of the Year awards for the Scudetta hopefully reflected that, like for the price point. And that's our ethos when we're building product, is for the price point, we want it to be the best version of that thing that you can get. So AG, we think that's the best AG shoe you can get for under €200, under $200. Same with the Scudetta. For $200, we think it's the best version of that. We're working on now different price points. So we've got another shoe next year, which will be our first kind of entry price point shoe. And we think for the price point, it will be the best version of that you can get. But the sustainability is always there. So when we're building product, we kind of reverse engineer every component and try and cram as much bio-based, recycled, sustainable materials in it that we can, without compromising on the performance, because that's obviously the most important thing. So we have all sorts of tools that allow us to kind of measure the carbon output. We have a LCA, which is a life cycle assessment, something we've built from scratch, which basically measures the carbon output of everything in the shoes. So when you look at like the BioTouch, for example, it measures all of the electricity for all of the machines involved in making that, all of the transport from each supplier to the factory, to us, to you, all of the colorings, the inks, everything in that shoe is completely measured. We've not published the results yet because we're still verifying some of it. It has to go through a lot of third-party verification. But it's always going to be really important for us. The recycling as well is kind of exactly the same. We want to get to a point where we can turn old boots into new boots, at least a part of the old boots into the new boots. It's absolutely still a work in progress. We are not there yet. And to be quite honest, we need more shoes to be able to consistently run the machines. So I mentioned that the US is our biggest market. We're looking at expanding the recycling program to the US now, because at the moment it's just the UK. You then have all these sort of rules about transporting recycled materials because it's technically waste across borders and all that sort of thing. So it gets kind of difficult, but that's kind of always been our intention. But performance is first. If it doesn't perform, it doesn't go in the shoe. We want that sustainability side to just be an added benefit. But yeah, I just want to sort of say thank you to everyone who's supported the brand, tried the shoes. There's a lot more to come. Where we want to get to really is just to compete with the big three. And we think the shoes do that, but step by step, hopefully the brand will be able to do that. I think in certain areas it probably is, but there's a long way to go. And the next step for us is range expansion, which we've sort of spoken about a lot here. And that's power shoe, a touch shoe, shoes for certain regions, price points, kids range, indoor, turf, accessories, all of which is now being worked on. And over the next 2 or 3 years, will be in the market.
Nice.
Amazing.
I believe I sent a message when this first came out, the Sokito first came out, and I got them, and I was like, yeah, mate, boots are brilliant and all, but how long till I can be a full kit wanker?
Yeah.
And
I remember
working
that message.
on it.
Oh, but yeah, that's amazing, Jake. We won't keep you any longer. I know you're an incredibly busy man, but thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, much
thank
appreciated.
you very much for the insights. I will potentially cheekily shoot over. I've got a ton of additional questions that came in from users. I might fire them over to your social media team, and if they fancy replying to some of them on stories and stuff, then they might be able to do so. So if you asked a question that didn't get answered, I will send all the questions over to Sokito. You might see them on their stories if they have the time and the want, because I've just dropped that on them out of nowhere. So, but yeah, once again, thank you very much for joining us, Jake. That was incredibly insightful and a very succinct half an hour.
Appreciated.
And massive congrats on the boots that we've got so far. And best of luck with everything you're doing, because we think you are doing phenomenal work at the moment.
Absolutely.
Great. Well, thank you for having us, guys. And
enjoy
the rest of the pod.
Thank you very much, man. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, cheers. Nice.
And there we have it. That was Jake from Sokito with a tight half hour on the football boot hour there. So thank you very much, everybody, for obviously commenting on the chat. We will move on and do like our normal podcast stuff now. So stick around. We're definitely going to do that. But a massive thank you to Jake. And honestly, I'm going to have to go and clip the hell out of that, because we just got about 6 different like exclusive like pieces of information about Sokito and what they've got coming. So wow, like
seriously,
that's exclusive after exclusive. So this is why you watch the Football Boot Hour, ladies and gentlemen. We are the place for all the scoops, or apparently we are now.
Yeah, right.
Like, we got scoops out of 11 football as well. We're all good. Next week we have next week we have Ben, ex-developer Addy, joining us as well. So definitely be on for that one. You never know what you get out of Ben.
Yeah, seriously.
Cool. So should we move to I suppose pickups first?
Sure.
And then we'll do new releases. So pickups, what did you get? I think you've already shown
the
us.
Preds. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I got the AG Preds. Yeah.
Me also.
Yeah, AG just seems to be the way to go with this generation. Like, it's such an
FG-AG. Like, there's so much about this that is FG friendly while also being AG. It's not, and the studs aren't shorter than the current gen. They're just a different shape.
Okay. I was wondering, because I speculated that they're shorter than the previous gen AG.
Let me hold on. I have the Mania with the FG plate on.
Oh, so no. I meant previous gen AG.
Oh, the previous gen AG. Oh, okay. Yeah. Sorry, I thought you meant the FG.
No, it's okay.
But yeah, No, I think the forefoot, I think, from what I've seen, is the same length here as it is on the FG plate. So there's no
that's
change
kind
there.
of weird.
Which is weird, yeah. So all they've really done is go all conical, and then obviously this kind of rotation point here, which again looks quite similar to what they've used on the FG as well, in terms of shape and length and things like that.
This is pretty much, and also this layout is almost exactly their HG sole plate.
Oh, there you go.
If you think about it, it's just the HG sole plate is shorter studs and they're more oblong in this area.
Yeah. And it's all, oh Jesus! Sorry, we've got a massive storm here. Like, it's
I was about to say, it's pissing it down.
It's absolutely hammering down. Normally it can rain and you won't hear it, like, because my mic's pretty good. But it is huge storm here. That just got very intense. I can barely hear myself. Andrew, go through your thoughts, and I'm just going to mute my mic while you do so.
Sure. So I mentioned this in my reel. I'm actually pretty impressed with the fact that they've not rubberized the toe, but put a bit of extra grip on the toe here. And that's purely for durability aspect. So I really appreciate that they've done that. Like, it's such a simple thing, but I don't know why more brands don't do this. While these are definitely toned down as well, the grip area, this still has decent grippiness to it. So I don't think there will be too many issues. Obviously, it's not as aggressive as it was previously, but it's pretty nice. But it is still disappointing that the upper overall is quite stiff. So that's not great. I don't know why they just stick with hybrid touch this generation if they couldn't make this upper shorter, or goddamn stiffer. And the crazy thing is the midfoot is softer. So why is the midfoot so soft and this isn't? I don't know. Maybe it's because of the texturing. I think James is also frozen on us, so there's that as well. But it is weird too that the tongue, they've still got some grip on it, but they kind of got rid of the actually almost rubberized bits here. So that was I don't know, some weird choices by Addy here. It's not a bad boot, I don't think, overall, first impressions. But I am hoping, because if you've seen J Mike's Unisport video, it gets soft after a few sessions. I am hoping that it gets there, but it is frustrating that this is so stiff out of the box. So, James, are you with us? Lost power. Be back in a second. Fun. That is a proper storm. I do like this power spine here. It's pretty cool visually, and it does make it more stiffer there, which is where I think you need the most stability. Obviously, this is a power boot. You really don't need snapback in a power boot. I don't think so. I don't mind that it's softer in the forefoot. The joys of storms. Yeah, David. So I still have my lever 25. I'm trying to sell them, but if I don't sell them, I might actually do the same thing and cut the tongue off. And the Boonertron not getting me out of the Sokitos. Yeah, and the Sokitos seems to be more the way to go, especially if you want an AG boot. Again, if you look at this length on the studs, it's the Sokito is less than half the length. So the toe box seems to be lower than it used to be. Hi, James.
Hey, everyone.
You're on the screen twice right now for me.
Oh, am I? I'm only on it once for me, and that's going to cause a nightmare for editing. So I have a solar power system for the house, but if you get a massive storm, it sometimes trips, which it did. So I had to just go and switch the whole house to basically battery, which because my whole everything went. So we're just going to use up my battery power right now. It'll be fine.
And you're also seemingly wetter than you were before.
Oh, I am so my house is 20 meters max from where I am right now, maybe 10 meters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 10, 15 meters. And I ran from here to the house to fix this, and I am absolutely drenched. It is intense out there.
Jeez.
Anywho, where did we get to?
I was just talking about like the changes to the grip, how it's stiffer, and that's disappointing. The AG studs are a little long. I don't understand why this midfoot is so soft, but the forefoot is so stiff.
Yeah. What are your what's your overall assessment? Because my thoughts, I put this in the group the other day, that my first initial thoughts are not generally positive on this boot so far.
I think it's a step back. Other than this, I do like the extra stability, and the new sole plate is, I will say this, even the FG sole plate, I feel like is a better sole plate than previously.
I also agree.
I did not like the triangle studs they used on the Preds as much as like what they're doing here. So,
but yeah, I think as a man who has got me obsessed with heels, and as yourself being obsessed with heels, I feel like they've made. I think now this is difficult without having the other one in hand and doing a direct comparison, but today I kind of noticed this more. I think they've adjusted the padding and the positioning of the padding slightly, and both of those things are negative.
Yeah.
So I think both those things have affected the heel negatively to the point now where I think for the previous generation, I said that I thought the padding, the heel was fine. That was my assessment. It was fine. It didn't do anything great, but it was fine. Now, at this point, I think it's poor. Like, I don't think it's good enough anymore. I think they've gone to the point where I'm like, that's disappointing on a €280 boot.
Yeah. I will say it's so weird that like the sole plate is such a massive step forward, and that's such an expensive piece to fix. Like sole plates cost way more to produce than an upper, which is why you see brands repeatedly using the same sole plates. But like, why didn't you just stick to hybrid touch? Hybrid touch, you can do this on a hybrid touch upper
easily,
right?
Easily.
That's the point of hybrid. Like, that's one of the big things about hybrid touch is you can stick elements to it and it stays.
Yeah.
Why completely change the upper?
Change for the sake of change, isn't it? 2-year cycle.
Yeah.
They do two boots that are similar back to back, like kind of a minor update from one to the other. They do it with all their boots. And then the third year they go to a completely different style. And it's change for the sake of change. They had a really good basis there with the Pred, and they didn't have to do this, and they've just chosen to. Another thing that I feel now is with this kind of new, like pretty thin upper, what you've got is a tongue that no longer makes any sense.
Good. Like the tongue feels so thick compared to the rest of the upper.
So you know how like sometimes I particularly talk about how outsoles don't match uppers and how there's like not like a cohesive design between them. I now feel like this
Future 9 poisoned.
Yeah, I now feel like this is completely superfluous. This does not make sense on this boot anymore.
Yeah,
like it's just so thick and padded, and it's completely different to the rest of the boot. It doesn't suit the boot anymore. I
have a feeling that the tongue may be going away with the next model.
It wouldn't surprise me.
That's kind of my takeaway from it.
Yeah, it's just there for the sake of being there. But yeah, I don't know. The fit is also so again, this is something I need to delve into more before I put out my review. But so they raised the toe box height, right? I'm pleased about this because I was pleased about it in theory, because I think the toe box was too low on the previous generation, meaning I had to go up half a size. Now, on the new generation, I didn't go up half a size because the toe box is not too low. But they haven't changed any of the rest of it, and it's kind of very square. So I now have a little bit of room in the end of the boot, like a tiny bit, less than half a size, okay, in what I would consider my true to size for Addy. But the boot is way too tight, so I'm gonna have to go up half a size to actually wear them comfortably, leaving me with half a size and plus like an eighth, whatever that is, fractions, of length in the end. which means that I say this to people all the time, that realistically, this just means it's not a boot for me. It's not a good boot for my foot shape, which is fine. But it also means that I think for a lot of people, this is just going to be poorly designed shape-wise. I think the shape's going to be a big problem. Now, Burns Boots did say that he feels like the last gen, the AG plate, is much slimmer than the FG plate, or at least a little bit slimmer. So that could be adding to my issue there. But yeah, so far, like, I'm not going to slam the boot as being like a bad boot. It just seems like a lot of odd decisions that have led to a boot that is not as good and feels quite disjointed.
Yeah, it's one of those that it may end up being the case after the review is done. We'll say, yes, it's a good boot, but it doesn't seem as good because the previous ones were so much better.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure.
So we'll see. I should get my first session in these today. The snow is melted enough. Just barely.
Fingers crossed. Barely. Yeah. I will not be getting a session in today for a couple of reasons. One, you can hear the rain, so that's definitely not going to help. And finally, personal info, have a job interview tomorrow. The excitement is real.
Woo!
Finally, and I suppose we can get into some other stuff a little bit later. Let's power through. We'll talk about my little trip to France this week.
Yeah.
But yeah, did you have any other pickups this week that you wanted?
No, I think I talked about the Hummels last week, didn't I?
You did, yeah, briefly, yeah. Did I have these last week?
No.
Okay, so I also got these. We spoke about them, but I got a pair in. These came from Skechers. Thank you very much. Skechers sent these out to me. These are not my size. They're a sample pair, but I take absolutely no offense to that. Especially because I got a tiny little boot too. But yeah, so they're a really nice one for the collection there. Really and cool. Thank you very much to Skechers for sending those out. These will probably end up on my little boot wall next to my my football gal Preds. That'll be they can be friends. I feel like I got something else, but I can't remember. Maybe not. I did get a pair of another pair. I have so many pairs of these now of the Kipster CLRs. But again, as a result of my trip, which we will get to. So I think what we should do is get to the rest of the releases, because there's obviously at least one huge release in there that we need to talk about. But we will try and leave that to last if I remember what order I put these in. So let's start with this one. Okay, let's not start with that one. Hold on. That was I had a picture of the AG Scudetto ready to go just in case.
Nice.
Okay, let's not do that one either. Let's do this one first. We'll build up. We'll ramp up. Here we go.
Yeah.
So we got an all gold Diadora match winner World Cup 94, which, let's be honest, looks glorious.
It does. It's absolutely unnecessary, but looks glorious.
Just the most unnecessary. And they have multiple all gold boots now as well. Like most of that, you can get an all gold Brazil. There's all kinds of stuff out there.
There's an all gold Maximus that's still floating around.
Yeah. So yeah, I think this one with like 9 releases this week. So I think we can just rank it and move along. Is this great, or is it good for just being superfluous?
It's good.
It's good. That seems fair.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. What is next on my list here? Okay. We didn't rank these. We probably should have ranked these with Jake. But I think these are immediately great for 2 reasons. Same. 1, they're great. And 2, we just had Jake on the podcast and I'm biased. So those go in great. No problems. No questions at all. And we've just done a full deep dive into exactly how these are made and stuff. So we don't need to go in that any further, I don't think. What else have we got here? Here we go. So we got a Mizuno drop. So this was, what was it? Bright Gold, was it called?
Yeah, something like that.
So I think tellingly no alpha.
Yeah, the alpha is due to be replaced, it looks like.
Yeah, so we have this, which is simply white and gold, or alternatively the Chris's Footy Kicks colorway, as we will be calling
seriously.
If you don't know, if you're watching this, if you don't follow Chris's Footy Kicks, firstly, go and do so.
Go follow him,
and secondly, he took basically a pair of, was it the ULs? Is the all white Morelia ULs and painted the Runbird in gold. So he has a pair of boots that look almost exactly like this, which was quite impressive. He did a great job as well, to be fair to him.
Yeah.
Great.
Just
good.
Just good. Because they did this like 4 years ago as well.
Yeah. Even so, like it is good. It's very, very nice. But
yeah,
I think we are these days reserving the greats for the really kind of special stuff. Not just doesn't just look good. It has to have something a bit extra. So yeah, those can go in good as well. Where are we at now? Okay, so we have the another boot that reminds me of Chris's Footy Kicks. So this is the Under Armour Mansouri drop, where they've got a new Shadow 3 Elite and another Magnetico. Now, this is basically a re-release, pretty much, of what they did a few months ago with the original drop, but now there's a Shadow as well, which is just weird.
Yeah, all the hype from any hype that I had for all this stuff is just completely gone.
It's released too much, right?
Yeah.
I think they look nice, and I think they're kind of cool.
Yeah.
And I think the box and presentation is excellent. And apparently this Magnetico, according to, I think, Footloose Boots, is better than the regular retail variation. But even with all of that, it's too much of the same collab too soon. And especially when you've already done orange, it's a bit much.
Yeah.
So I think meh.
Yep, same.
Yeah, okay. Now where are we getting to now? Okay, so the Preds just need we've already spoken about them in length. So these just, I suppose, just need a rating, and this is an interesting one because normally we just rate based on looks. We actually have these in hand, which will probably influence decisions. But what do you reckon?
Yeah, I'll put them in good, but with an asterisk, because I
was going to go meh with an asterisk, but I'm happy to go good with an asterisk. I think that's
I'm just thinking of the sole plate, especially.
The sole plate, I think, is quite excellent. Excellent. And the support in the heel, I think, is nice too. I know Jay might mention that in his review. So that's good. Okay, so I think that leaves us, unless I've got this wrong, with just the two other main drops of the week. Oh, no, it doesn't. Here we go. So we also had this release this week. So the Saka Furon.
So nice.
Which is unbelievable.
That's so, like, I've, oh, man. It's so good. Like, I kind of wish they didn't exist so I wouldn't like have convinced myself that I need a pair.
Yeah.
There's so much coming out this month. It's absurd.
I have had the pleasure of speaking to New Balance about this, and there is a chance that I'm getting a pair. So fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. I have a pair coming.
These are incredible. Yeah, these are great.
These are great. Exactly. Yeah. So these are great. There's a story to them. They look fantastic. I think these are genuinely great. So huge fan of those.
Yeah.
Okay. So then that does leave us with the two remaining boots, one of which I know exactly where it is. Do I know where the other one is? Yes, I do. Yay. Look at that. So we'll start with this one and then finish up with the other one. This is obviously the announcement that we got the new Tiempo, which is going to be released the 12th of January, was it? Or is it the 22nd of January? 22nd. So the 22nd of January, we are getting brand new Tiempo. We are getting both the Tiempo Maestro and this, which is the Tiempo Ligera 2, which I'm assuming is the Pro Tier takedown.
It is the Pro Tier takedown.
Yeah, so like, because obviously the way it's been named as there is maybe some confusion that it could be like, for example, there could still be a Pro Maestro, and then the Ligera is like its own little pocket product.
I have no idea, but it does seem like this might be. So I posted this in our chat, but this very much seems like a late edition because we did not see any leaks ahead of time of this at all.
None of this.
So
we have no idea.
My take is that this is a direct response to the Icon 2.
Interesting. So I had thought as well, but it wasn't that. So my thought was that it was a response to the failure of the Premier 4.
Probably both. Could be both.
So that's what I think. We're both right. So my thought was the Premier 4 flopped. Like, they didn't even release it. So they need something to replace the Premier 3. And instead of having to go back and redo a Premier 4, this will actually end up replacing the Nike Premier.
Yeah. It'll be especially interesting to see what Nike Japan has come up with this.
Yes.
Because I imagine we're getting new hard ground sole plates with this.
You would assume so. But yeah, this photo that I have does this boot no justice whatsoever in terms of visuals, but I think this boot looks stunning.
Yeah.
It's absolutely lovely.
It's so nice.
Yeah. And I'm delighted that it's going to be that pro tier.
Yeah.
I'm delighted it's not leather. I'm delighted for two reasons. One, it's going to be a pro tier price point, and two is that it's actually not leather. Because obviously there was a lot of rumor that this was going to be leather in the kind of few hours worth of leak that we got, I suppose. It was going to be a calf leather boot. And then when it was revealed, it wasn't even revealed. J-Mike just told us, didn't he? After the big Nike thing, that it was going to be tech leather, which is the new synthetic leather material. I had.
This is back to my thing that's saying this is a play for the East Asian market, for Japan specifically, because otherwise they would have had this as part of a huge part of their marketing.
Yes. Yeah, I think
they haven't really.
No, I think you're right. And there is no, aside from a few pictures, and this is why I have this picture, because there are pictures on Instagram and stuff, but there wasn't the big rollout. And I know it's because it's the lower retail price, but there wasn't the big rollout to Soccer Bible and things like this for them to generate their own images and things. So yeah, either way, I think this looks absolutely delicious, and I'm very excited to try it. I am hoping to have them early if I'm lucky. I'm not sure. I have recently made some Nike friends, which is nice.
Ooh, Nike friends.
Nike friend. So again, to once again reference my trip to France, which I think we will still get to briefly. I was on a plane when this announcement was happening, because the announcement happened in Oregon at the big kind of event. So they invited loads of influencers and boot people and content creators, reviewers, stores to this big event in Nike Town in Oregon. And as soon as that finished, they launched the boot and announced it. It was obviously coordinated. So I was invited to actually be on a Zoom call to watch that announcement, which was very cool. Unfortunately, I was on a plane when that happened, so I didn't actually get to watch it. But I am hopeful of getting a link to watch it at a later date, which is kind of cool. But I'm also hoping that the person who has essentially allowed me to maybe be part of that might be able to get me a pair a week early, maybe, so I can drop a review on launch day, which would be cool. But that's not confirmed at all. It's just hopeful. So I suppose before we rank that one, we should look at the other variation, the Tiempo Maestro, which is this, which visually I'm less excited about, but it looks like it's going to be a very good boot according to kind of most people. Yes, most people's opinions are colored by the fact they were at an event and had been flown business class out by Nike to be at this event. But I'm pretty positive so far. What are your thoughts?
Well, I will say, based on some of the people I talked to who are more local to Nike, so they drove to the event rather than being flown out there.
Class flights.
Yeah, they are also very, very hot on these. And hearing J-Mike say, J-Mike mentioned in a comment on, where was it, on the YouTube short, that he thinks the upper is better than the silky wrap.
Yes, I did hear him say that, which is huge, and impressive. And what if they're going to move away from leather, which they clearly are, and they're sticking with it for now at least. this is what they're Nike, for God's sake. Like, they're not short of R&D funds. Like, this is what they needed to be delivering on a synthetic Tiempo, something where people go, oh crap, that is industry standard, like the best on the market synthetic leather that is so close to K leather that you can barely tell the difference, and you're getting all of these extra benefits, you know, the no water retention, less stretching, things like that. So it took them 2.5 years. That's like literally how long we've been staring at that Tiempo Legend 10, I think. It's taken them 2.5 years to get there, but it does look like we got there.
It's so many stupid decisions to lead up to this good decision, seemingly.
Yes, yeah. But I am glad that they did what you maybe wouldn't expect a big brand to do, which is they waited. They didn't rush this out. They persevered with that Legend 10, which they knew wasn't selling. They knew nobody really liked. But they persevered with it to get to this.
It was obvious within a couple months.
Yeah.
Here at least, it was really obvious that they were not selling.
But I think it was, all in all, it's multiple seemingly smart decisions from Nike, which isn't something we say on this podcast very often.
Seriously.
So I do, again, I do very much like the colorway. I am not entirely sold on the split tooling. That seems like a weird choice. But we will see. That's very much a performance thing. And I would like to see the heel improve across all Nike boots. So we'll see how this one gets along as well. Does look like, to me, it's crying out for a floating tongue, though, do you think?
Yeah, I think the whole knit was a bad choice. But this is just the direction they're going in now, and we just kind of have to. That's just how it's going to be.
Yeah, some things you just have to deal with, which is fair enough. But yeah, so where would you? Is this a good with an asterisk depending on performance when we get it?
Yeah.
I think that seems fair, right? And I suppose we can lump the Ligera in there as well. That visually is great as far as I'm concerned.
Oh yeah.
But
same.
still, I think for that one, we still need to get on feet, especially because it's that pro tier pricing. Maybe I assume going to be around 170 kind of euros. So if that performs at that price point,
we could be looking that could be a game changer for Nike.
Could be huge. Could you imagine the number of people who could potentially be rocking that? They could drive a lot of people to.
But the thing is, that should have happened with the Icon too.
It should, yeah. But like, so if Nike get this right and they actually release like more colorways, you know, rather than the Icon 2s, how many colorways did the Icon 2 get? Like 2? Like, it's not a lot. So if Nike do, I'm not saying they need to release it in every single colorway. Please, we don't need that. They will, but we don't need it. But if we get 4 or 5 of them, and there's a good size range available, and they're available worldwide, and they're promoted properly as part of the lineup, and they're good,
it could be very positive.
Like, that could be very positive. Very positive.
Absolutely.
So that's great. Cool. So that was, I realized, a little bit of a quick fire last half an hour for what is a huge week of releases when it comes to things like the Tiempo and the Predator. But I think, honestly, I could not be happier that that's the case, considering we got to talk to Jake for the first half hour there.
That was great.
Because that was really, really excellent. Now, we apologize, chat, because obviously you guys have been going off in the chat as always, and we appreciate you being there, that we haven't got to too many of your questions this week, but we don't want to go back to running the podcast into 2-hour-long epics because nobody watched those. You guys loved them on the live, but they weren't watched afterwards. So I think what we'll do is we will end it there. We will head across to our members only chat. So members, if you are joining us, then by all means, please, you kind of ask us your questions again when we get into the members only. I am going to schedule for 1 minute for all channel members. there we go. So yeah, we'll jump to members only chat in a minute. If you had questions here, please ask them again in members only, and we will get to them there. Apologies if we didn't get to them this week. Your Sokito questions, either DM me with them or I will pull them up again and we'll get those over to Sokito if we can. But with that, thank you very much for watching us here on the Football Boot Hour this week. Andrew, where can they find you?
Find me at Lockhart Boot Blog on Instagram and my blog.
It's always been the same. Go and check out Andrew's blog. And of course, you're here on the Boot Wizard YouTube channel. So do get subscribed, like the video. And you can, of course, find me on TikTok at Boot Wizard and also on Instagram at Boot Wizard Boot Reviews. I'll be announcing my giveaway winner tomorrow, which is huge news. Yeah, let's not do that. Thank you very much for that one there. Bye.
Bye.